Hi, everybody. Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're in the world today. I am so excited to be here with my new friend, Angela. We are here for a micro interview, and I believe that you can create a life or a business you love one choice at a time. And maybe something we talk about today will be something you need to learn to get from where you're at now to where you're going to go. If you are new to Safe Heart Connections, we're so glad you found us. If you've been around for a while, we're glad you came back. And I am truly excited. Angela and I were having a little bit of conversation before, and I feel she has something really great to share. I love her story, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you. So, Angela, would you share what I like to call your superhero origin story and just help everybody get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So I am a mental health therapist from Tampa Bay, Florida, and I'm also certified brain health coach through Amen Universities and the Amen clinics. So what makes the clinics stand out, or what makes Dr. Amen's clinic stand out, is SPECT imaging. So looking at nuclear medicine and SPECT, which measures blood flow in the brain, to give us a clear picture of how the brain is functioning. So I use a lot of that as well. And I originally learned about this through my internship in private practice. I've been mostly in private practice. And I also got certified in EMDR for trauma work, trauma processing. And currently, I'm a consultant and I'm working to be a consultant to help other therapists and those trained in EMDR to be certified.
Yeah, that's
And
really good. We
that's
talked a
on a
little bit
personal
about
note.
we talked a little bit about EMDR. I haven't been brave enough yet. So I'm curious just with what you just said about what you do. Is this something you've always been interested in, or how did you get to doing what you do now?
I've always loved science, and I was influenced at first in high school by therapist at the school who opened my eyes to a lot of things, typical adolescent angst and stress. And she opened my eyes to how a therapist can make a huge difference in somebody's life. And that was my life. And that kind of opened up my eyes. And then it wasn't until I finished college that I did a class in mental health counseling or counseling of some sort for mental health. And so I said, this is great. I think that I didn't immediately go to school or go into my master's degree after that, but I allowed for some real life work experience first, doing various things, and then going back to grad school. And so I think I was greatly influenced again by my therapist. I was a teenager. And even now today, I do work with teenagers around the same age as when I was a student. And that was really influential for me and my love for neuroscience, psychology, and prompted me that yes. And plus, this is the most important, would be the guidance by God, because God told me this is something that was my destiny that I am meant to do. And this would honestly, this would be something that I would not have thought I could do when I was in college, even or earlier to that. But it's something that has been divinely given to me as a gift to do. I'm using my talents in helping to help others and to serve others.
Yeah, that's so good. When God says do it, I'm just going to give you a word of warning, ladies. Do it. Uh,
I
and
agree.
I love what you talked about with your teacher, the therapist. I don't know that I've told this story very often, if ever. My parents divorced when I was young. I was like 7. They both remarried right away, like when I was 8. So I grew up with two sets of parents. That part I've told. And so I had a mom and a stepdad and a dad and a stepmom. For a little while, I lived with my mom and my stepdad. In the summer between my 6th and 7th grade year, my dad's, hey, basically, it's time for you to come live with us again. And I didn't want to do it. I was going into the 7th grade. That is and was probably still like the worst fear to ever transition a kid from one place to another. All the stuff that's going on in your body, and then just the school. Seventh grade is just awful. At least it was for me. If you love seventh grade, I'm happy for you. Was not my experience. And so I didn't want to go, and I was very loud about it. And when I went to school, I had an art teacher named Mr. Ochoa, and I went to his class, and I recognized very quickly that he was a safe place for me to go and to be creative and angsty at the same time. And before school, there were several of us kids that would go in there together, and we would just be and draw and do whatever and just had a safe space to be. And I that was probably the first time I ever, I believe that's the first time in my mind where any of my suicidal ideation started, was around that time, sixth or seventh grade. It's the first time I remember it. And looking back over my life, I recognized that he possibly saved my life
Mhm.
because I had a place to go. Did not plan on talking about this today. Didn't know it was going to come up. But a couple of years ago, I had been looking for him because this was seventh grade. It was 40 years ago, something 35, 40 years ago. And one of my friends that I knew from junior high and high school, she messaged and said, I found him. And I'm like, you
Wow.
found him? And so I messaged him, and we got to meet up for lunch right after COVID finished. And I got to tell him thank you. And I said, I
Oh.
think you saved my life. And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, they probably put you in my class on purpose. They knew what was happening, and they knew that that I worked really well with those kids. So I was one of those kids that needed
Mhm.
some extra support. And I love that the school was so mindful of it, even though I had no idea what was happening. And so I think a lot of times schools and teachers and the institutions get a bad rap, but I think that they're doing the best that they can with what they have, and they did good by me. So I appreciate the fact that you are now being a therapist for some of those kiddos in that rough time that may be looking back later and say, Angela was the one that was my safe space. So I very much value what you're doing and how you show up in the world. And so the mainstay of what we do for the micro interviews here in Safe Heart Connections is having you share a tip, thought, or piece of advice that might benefit someone that's listening. And so I would love to hear what you would like to share today.
I think for our listeners out there, I think a good tip would be to not take for granted your mental health and make sure you engage in stress management. You're doing things to help yourself. So a lot of self-help practices, whatever that looks like, taking a walk, engaging in a fun hobby, doing something that you never really have enough time to do, but actually you're setting aside time now to be able to do it. And I think that if each of us do something like that and put that as a priority, like putting ourselves as priority and our mental health, then not only will it affect the relationship you have with yourself, but also your families and people that are important in your life. And they will see, model that behavior as to how it looks to somebody who's important to you, of how you deal with struggles, tribulation, and things like that, or even just how you deal with everyday stress. We're in a very stressful world, and we each have to almost sanctify our sense of peace. And I think those are some easy ways to do that. A lot of mindfulness exercises, just keeping in the moment. Anxiety tends to either bring us back to the past or bring us forward to the future when it hasn't quite happened just yet, but then we're already anxious about whatever it is that we're ruminating on. And yeah, just make sure that you are aware of all that. And
Yeah.
health is really important. We don't have a price tag on it.
No, yeah, that's so good. And that's part of what we do in Safe Heart Connections. I teach to where my goal is to help the women learn how to live in what I call overflow, so that you keep your cup so full to the overflow that you give out of the saucer of life so that when you give, you're not depleted. And the only way that happens is if you keep your cup full. And it looks different for everybody. Right now, this video won't play, this interview won't play for a couple of months, probably just because of editing and the schedule that I have for rolling stuff out. But right now, this week, I'm in the middle of packing to move, and it's a move we did not plan. Like, we made a decision one day, hey, we're going to sell our RV and move into a house. And literally 13 days later, it's happening. It's that
Wow.
quick, that quick. I didn't think we'd find a house that quick. We haven't sold the RV yet, but we're making plans for that. And so, what you're talking about, managing your mental health and your energy and all that, I'm real actively doing that. And so last night, I was tired after a long day of getting all my work done and some planning for the move. And I told my husband, I'm going to bed. He goes, it's 9 p.m. And went to bed. And I slept until 8. And man, for me, my sleep is really important. If I, in my brain, because I run 2 businesses on top of everything else in life, that when life starts to get overwhelming, like my brain gets so full, I have to manage that. And so I do a brain dump on paper. I manage my sleep. I make sure I'm getting enough water and doing a lot of the things you talked about. But being present in the moment, like right now with you, we've had this conversation and my phone's way over there. It's not even anywhere where I could see it or feel it buzz, so that while I'm with you, I can be present. That is one of the best things I do for me and the people I connect with, because we are, you said that we live in a very stressful world. We do, but we also live in a very fragmented space, I think, where there's always so many things coming at you. And to be able to just be focused on you, that
Mhm.
makes me better for you. And I think that it helps our relationships be stronger. So I love everything you shared.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just really important. Sleep is definitely, it's not, excuse me, it's not a commodity, it's a necessity when it
Agreed.
comes to brain health, because with the brain needing to wash out any toxins that is accumulated during the day and actually flush that all out, you have to have good sleep. So,
And I've been that way my whole life. When I was a kid and I would get cranky about something, my dad would say, just go take a nap. As a teenager, as a kid, I probably didn't want to take the nap. I would fake it. Fine. But I know that if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not going to be good for anybody. I say nobody wants to see Sleepy Sam.
got it.
It's not fun for anybody. Angela, I so appreciate you. I'm so glad to be connected to you. I'm happy to see how you're showing up and helping in the world. And I'm going to make sure that your links where everybody can click through to get to connect to you, get more connected to you, will be around the video. You are in Safe Heart Connections in the community. So if somebody's watching and they want to just send you a quick DM, then you'd be happy to connect, I know. But do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, I'm just glad again to meet you, Sam. And I feel good about sharing today in this interview. And I'm looking to participate more in safe connections and just growing community. I think we all need that.
Yeah, very good. I'm happy to be connected to you as well. I'll see you soon.
Okay, great. Thank you.